What's up, everybody? It's Def Shogun. Thank you for joining me again for another YouTube episode. Today we're going to be working on colors, shading, and highlights, and all the little details thereafter. Now, before we get into that, please check out the links in the bio, check out the links in the description for the merch shop and all my socials. So, now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Now, for those of you that don't know, I use Procreate app on the iPad Pro 12.9-inch 5th generation with the Apple Pen, with the 2nd generation Apple Pencil. Now, this is basically a sequel to my previous episode where I went about the line art and inking process. Now we're going to do the full color design and the rest of the details on this piece. Continued from my previous episode, which you can check out. All right, so step one, let's make sure we have our layers set up correctly. So we have our ink layer. It doesn't matter what number you name it. It just happens to be layer 3 for some reason on my end, probably from my previous video. But yeah, we're gonna create a new layer. All right, now we have a layer underneath our ink layer. Go back to our ink layer, we're gonna tap it, it's gonna bring up this menu, and you're gonna wanna just hit reference. That's just gonna tell the iPad and Procreate exactly where you want color to drop within the confines of your ink. Okay, so if you have any gaps in your ink, then the color that we drop later on, it's gonna spill over onto the rest of the canvas. So make sure all your ink is tight. Step 2. Now that we've got everything set up with the layers and we have our second layer selected with the first layer of our ink layer made as a reference, let's drop some colors in. All right, so the helmet, we're gonna do like a faded army green kind of thing. We'll just drop it in. We'll do the same over there. Now you'll get some gaps if you have some detail, especially some like hatch work, stuff like that. You'll probably have to fill in manually, which is no big deal. You just want to make sure that that is done. Take a quick gander, zoom around, look around. Everything looks legit. All right, now that we have the hat as the helmet as its own layer, we're gonna create a new layer underneath that. Now we're gonna go for the straps. We're gonna go like a brown, beige, faded brown for the straps. And again, same thing. Very good. Very good. I think that's done. Now, we're going to create a new layer. Again, drop it underneath. We're going to do like a bronze for the belt, for the buckles. Right? Looks more like a gold, I guess, but we'll tweak it. I'll show you guys how to tweak colors. You know, sometimes it turns into an eraser on its own. It's just the way I have my Apple Pencil set up. Looking good, looking good. Next up, skeleton. We're gonna do, for the bones, we're gonna go like a light gray beige. Drop it in, fill it out. Sometimes it helps to make your brush a little bigger so you could just quick swipe through and make sure everything is covered and colored as it should be. Do the bottom. All right, the skull is done. Now we're gonna go in and do some tendons, right? So drop another layer. We'll go with like a pink, but like a faded pink. And we'll just go in and do that. All right, now that we'll do the teeth. Go for like a white. Make him shine bright like a diamond. See, this isn't so bad. If you're staying with me here and you're working on your own piece, and you've gotten this far without taking your iPad and smashing it over your knee, congratulations. You have self-control. Now we'll do the eyes. We want this to look mean, so I'm gonna give them like red eyes. Just for fun. And next we'll do the card. I don't know what we're gonna do with the card yet, so I'm gonna give it like a gold color. It is what it is. Whatever. Right? Okay. Now we're gonna start shading, right? So we'll select the layer of the helmet. Select it. There are many different ways to go about this. You can do alpha lock, which works really well too. This is just the way that I'm self-taught, so this is the way that I learned how to do it, and it's helped me. And if you like my work and you want to see how I do what I do, this is the way I do it personally. All right, so now we selected the color again, right? So our color is selected. Now I'll pick a darker version of that color. Then I'll grab an airbrush. I'll pick an appropriate size, and we'll work it in. Now I like to, usually with a piece like this, I like to make the light coming from close to front, but over the top. So that's where I imagine the lights be coming from. So I'll put a little shadow here underneath each bevel that I am imagining. The card would make somewhat of a shadow, so I would do that, right? You could just work in your black inks into the shadow of the darker green. Just take your time with it. Now we'll do highlights, right? So we'll select the green again, then we'll pick a brighter colored green just over top, and we'll drop it in. Now, the way I usually work when it comes to different surfaces, because every surface reflects or refracts light a little differently. So usually, the harder the surface, the harder the delineation between colors is going to be. So I won't shade this too much. I'll just add a little bit here and there. This way it looks like it's reflecting a light overhead, like an actual light. Right now, if this was skin or something, I would start going real soft with it. Like I would fade it all nicely and stuff like that. And diffuse it a little bit. So now, I'm gonna grab the darker version of my colors, right? And I'm going to see these little cuts, right? Underneath the cut, we're gonna add some shadow. Right? Just take your time. sometimes I'll put my hand over my other hand to steady myself, because some reason I think the height of my desk is a little too high, so it creates pressure on a nerve and it makes my hand wobble. So to correct that, I kind of just, I don't even press on my hand, I just hold my hand on my other hand, I rest it, and it corrects the wobble. You don't normally see that happen in my lives because the camera is too zoomed in. But for this, there you go. Now we'll grab the highlights and we'll do the same thing underneath. So if you look, make sure we fade it out as we pull out, and it gives it like that 3D. Gives it a cool 3D bevel. And it's just that little touch goes a long way to give a really cool look. The helmet's done. All right, now we go on to the straps. Again, same effect. We select the layer. Then we go in, we select our brown, pick a darker brown. Make sure our airbrush is on. And we go and kind of just fade it in. And you could just play around, you know. It doesn't have to be perfect. So maybe this strap is like pulled away a little further, more behind than the other one. So then we'll go in and we'll grab the base color again, and we'll go for a brighter color. And this time we'll do that little bevel on the edge there, just to have a little contrast in color, right? And underneath, just a little bit. Okay, cool. Moving on, now we got the buckles, and we're gonna do the same thing. We have our buckle layer selected. Grab the base color, drop it a lower color on. And we grab the base color again, grab the lighter version, grab a smaller brush. Just adding a little bit of detail. It really makes it pop, you know? And we'll go to the next one. We'll work our way down. We have our skull color selected. We drop it to a darker tone. And we go in on the eyes, because I like to think the eyes are like really sunken in. So I like to start in the eyes if I can. Fade it out slowly, softly, with the airbrush. here, it's going to be shaded because the helmet overlaps, right? But we want to keep the shape contour. So we're going to shade like this. We'll follow the contour down, and then we'll come back. That looks cool. That looks cool. Again, we'll do the same thing over here. We'll follow the contour down just a little bit. And it's kind of like you're sculpting, you know? So like you want to make things protrude and extrude, stuff like that, especially when it comes to like horror, zombies, or monsters. Toward the back, everything is covered up by the stuff that's above it. Then as it starts to come towards the front, we'll show more and more of the base color and less of the shadow. Because that's what would happen naturally. Maybe we'll show a little shadow right underneath. Okay, our shadows are down. So now we'll select a layer again. Select the base coat and we'll go for a lighter tone. Maybe not too light. Here we go. I'll go in. Now for more details, you want to make a smaller brush. This way you can just contour certain shapes, like the teeth. And you kind of fade in, fade out when it comes to the soft airbrush. Fade in, fade out. Now sometimes, but not all the time, I'll make the highlighted color on the edges of the piece I'm working on. Helps delineate it from the background, makes it pop a little bit more. It's just a little trick to add a little more contrast. And sometimes it really, this little tip can help go a long way for you. Once I started doing that, I noticed a big difference. Not all the way around, but like just in certain, like maybe in certain corners or something like that. You don't want to use it completely all the way around. See, in certain points, I don't have it on there, you know? So, okay. All right, we have our tendons selected. We're gonna do the same thing. I know this is all rudimentary by now. You guys should have a nice flow going. You should know exactly what I'm gonna do next at this point, you know? Pretty cool. teeth can be funky, right? Teeth can be a little weird. You can do a gray, which is fine, which is normally my instinct would be to use a gray. Or you can grab a blue gray. So you go to the gray scale, go right in the middle, and then you pull it out slightly to capture a little bit of that blue. You drop some shadow in there. And make sure to tweak the size of your brush to get into those points that you want to get into. Okay. And keep in mind, you want to keep your shadows in mind, keep your lighting in mind. All right, so the cheekbones are kind of hanging over these teeth a little bit on the side, so they would be shadowed out. Underneath these teeth, they're going to be a little darker because the lighting is going to capture the surface of the teeth up top more so than the surface of the teeth on the bottom. Same goes for here. So the teeth on the bottom, you're gonna catch the tips here, right? And then along the bottom, it's gonna be darker because they kind of bow out. They bow out a little bit. All right, and now we're gonna go to the eyes and we're gonna do the same thing, all right? This time we might do a little different though. Add some more color. So we want like maybe an orange glow. So we'll grab the airbrush. We'll kind of just drop it in. No, you don't have to do this. It's completely up to you. This is just what I'm working on. Again, with this card, I don't know what I was gonna do here. I would just keep with the flow. Again, a highlight. Maybe I'll drop in like a random flourish of color. This is golden ticket, right? Okay. So check it out. We're done with color, basically. All right, so we can turn off our reference. Now I'm gonna take all these, if we're happy with what we've got, if you're not happy, say you wanna change a color up, you're on a layer, you come over here, you tap the wand tool, right, the magic wand, and then you go to hue and saturation. Then down at the bottom, you could change your color up a little bit. However way you want, you can change the saturation, make it a very vibrant green. Maybe you want to go real dark or real light. It's completely up to you. Okay, but let's say we're happy with our colors. I'm gonna, with my one finger here, holding that, all the colors on one layer. There are a couple different processes that I do after this, so pay close attention to this next segment. Okay, buttheads, here we go. We're gonna duplicate this layer, and the layer up top, we're gonna turn it into a multiply. Now it makes it look real dark and edgy, right? Which is cool. We're gonna drop the opacity of this layer to like maybe 60, 63%, somewhere in there, somewhere around the 60s, or wherever you feel comfortable, it's up to you. I'm gonna grab the airbrush on eraser, and I'm gonna go in. Now I can choose where I want the eye to see certain things. Start erasing in certain areas to make things pop a little more. And now we have a lot of contrast going right now with the colors that we picked, right? So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna duplicate the line art. Okay, interesting. Okay, so we're gonna duplicate this line art, like I said. The bottom line art, I'm gonna go over to our wand tool, hit our Gaussian blur. Let it get a little fuzzy. If it looks a little fuzzy to you, around 7%, right up in here, that's good. Now what you do is you grab the opacity and you drop it down to like maybe 50, 56%, somewhere in there, wherever you deem fit. Again, we're gonna merge these. Now, we're almost done. We're gonna select this layer. We're gonna create a new layer above it with that selection used. We're gonna scroll down, scroll back up, make it a multiply. Grab the airbrush on black. Make a big brush for yourself and start filling in a little bit. Again, this is completely up to you what you want to do. It's, you know, this is how I like to play around with colors and effects. Sometimes you might be a little different. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to do some luminescent work. All right, so I'm going to grab somewhere in the brightest portion of your color scheme here. Go to Luminescence, grab the light pen. Everybody has it. Right. I'm gonna go in. Look at that shine. Right? Looks pretty cool. Just little bits here and there. Don't overdo it. Just little bits. Respect the shine. Grab that airbrush and just fade it out if you need to, if you have too many sharp edges. Look at that. Pretty nice, right? Now we'll do the same on the eyes here. I'll give it that glow. Not too much. And we'll go in with the tendons here. Give them a nice little, make them look wet, you know? Make them pop a little bit. That. Let me go in here. Add some shine to the card. The golden ticket. Alright. Now we'll go in with the background. We'll make the background black. We'll create a new layer underneath our color layer. And we'll grab red. Now, it's up to you what you would like to do as far as your backgrounds. I like to do like random, like shapes and spats of color and stuff like that. So we'll grab that. We'll just build it up like that. And there you have it. I hope this helped. That's basically how I color. That's how I do a lot of this. Like, it's all the same details and stuff like that. The same effects. Now there's one other option that you can do, which I forgot about, which is fun. So you go to your top layer, and then you hit copy. You go up here to the wrench and you hit copy canvas. That takes everything that you see and puts it all on one layer up top. All right, so then you hit paste, and then it's there. You'll see it in your layers. All right, so you gotta hit copy canvas and then paste. Then it'll be there. Now you have a full carbon copy of everything on one layer that you've done to show forth. So now we'll go to the wand tool again. We'll go down to chromatic aberration. I like to center the chromatic aberration around the middle portion. And we just drag and drag until you see a noticeable difference. So we'll hit done. We're done with it. Now if you zoom in, you'll see what it does. See how it gives it like that tinge of 3D effect? One last little tidbit for you beautiful bastards. We're gonna grab our airbrush. We're gonna select our background color, which is mostly the red, right? So we got red selected. Create a new layer on top of everything and make it a screen, right? So when you click on that little N, you turn it into S for screen, right there. Then we'll grab a noticeably sized, and we start fading it in. Now this will make the background color kind of bleed through, and you just sort of follow the contours of everything. Just like that. Now we'll drop the opacity on it slightly, like 70%. And that's it. Then you grab your stamp or your logo of approval. We'll make it white. Bop. Oh, put it on that layer by mistake. Create a new layer. Makes life easy. And we'll drop it in. Put it on the side. Drop the opacity. You don't want it to overshadow what you got going on in the painting. There you have it. Or you could drop it up here for fun. Maybe I'll make a sticker out of it someday. Maybe we want overlay. This way the color of the back bleeds through the logo, and I can bring up the opacity without losing anything. And there you go. There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done. We're done. Well, I hope this helped. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I am Def Shogun, freelance illustrator and graphic designer. If you'd like to see more, click the link in the bio and in the description for the merch store, defshogun.com, and other socials as well. Thank you again so much for watching and all your support. And I'll see you guys next time.